Hi, I'm Nicole
And Rebecca.
of conquerbooks.com.
And today we are reading Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman.
Good Omens by Gaiman and Pratchett is about two best friends, an angel named Aziraphale and a demon named Crowley. And they have been together for thousands of years, supposedly warring with one another, but they really don't want to war with one another because they both really like being on planet Earth. They have a good time. But they just got news that the apocalypse is coming, and so they want to stop it.
So, Good Omens was published in 1990, but the reason why we're revisiting it today is this year Amazon Prime is releasing a new original television show based on Good Omens. And conquerbooks.com has an exclusive trailer just for you guys.
You're gonna love this. It's really high quality. Aziraphale, we need to talk.
Yes, I rather think we do. I assume this is about
Armageddon. Yes. How long have we been sisters? 30-some years.
we may be family, but we're an angel and a demon. We're on opposite sides.
We're on our side.
We have nothing in common. I don't even like you.
You do. Armageddon is coming, and then it's all over. No more fascinating little restaurants where they know you. No more old bookshops.
Well, there must be something we can do.
We have to work together. It's the end of the world we're talking about. Not the war to end all wars. The war to end everything. We're doomed!
Well, welcome to the end times. So that was the exclusive look at the newest trailer of Good Omens. We're sure that you enjoyed it.
When they learn that the apocalypse is on its way, they decide that they need to do something about this.
Yeah, they both use the term humanizing, so the humans around them are rubbing off. And Crowley is put in charge of the Antichrist when the Antichrist is a baby. And he is told that he has to make this big switch at a hospital. So the Antichrist grows up with this human family because when the baby turns 11, that's when Armageddon is going to break loose. But they put the baby in the wrong spot. And so suddenly, well, not so suddenly, 11 years later, suddenly, they realize that nobody exactly knows where the Antichrist is. And Crowley and Aziraphale are divided about how much they should interrupt this process, this grand plan that has been put into motion by heaven and hell. But they just can't leave well enough alone. They need to save planet Earth because they've both come so accustomed to their lives here.
Crowley's big gimmick that he's got is his car is a classic Bentley that turns all of the CDs into music by Queen, which was fun. And Aziraphale's thing was an old bookstore. So they both found these things that they really love on planet Earth that they don't want to leave behind.
Mm-hmm. Which was fun to see some personality for an angel and a demon, to see them both coming alive when they get into their interest areas and how passionate they are about those things. So much so that they would leave behind heaven and hell. And they talk about it a lot like a job. Like they're just told, and upper management tells them what to do, and they may disagree, but they're not really sure how much power they have. And all things considered, they're not quite sure that God and the devil really know what they're doing, because why does there have to be a war that destroys everything? And so just the logic of their thinking as they're going through this, little adventure is like really fun to follow.
Yeah, they banter with each other a lot too, where one of them's saying, you think you're so bad and you're really not that bad. And the other one's like, well, you think you're so good and you're really just not that good.
Yeah, the humor was really good too. Nicole's going to read a footnote because Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, of course, have great senses of humor. And all along the way, there's these little footnotes that just highlight things for you.
It felt like they went back through after the novel was already finished and were like, ooh, we could write something funny about that. Let's write a little star, which I think would have been a blast as an author. So it's a very simple line. She was in the middle of a city, and there's an asterisk that leads to a footnote. Nominally a city. It was the size of an English country town, or, translated into American terms, a shopping mall. Silly little dry humor like that. Also fun facts, slightly historical, slightly made up.
Yeah.
Lots of little tidbits regarding the occult and like secret things like that. There were like puns here and there, or like they would take an old magic book title and like change it to something new. So they did these little, what we call winks, is where an author puts something in there where it's not a big deal if you don't get it, but when you do see it, you're kind of like, oh, I see what you did there. It's clever.
Yeah. And if you read a lot of Gaiman and Pratchett's work, you can really see their individual writing in the midst of one book. So they were working together, and they wrote it in the late 80s. They were writing from different places. And so what that meant was Gaiman would write throughout the night, because he's a night owl, and then in the morning Pratchett would call him, and they would yell at each other and talk very excitedly on the phone. And then a couple of times a week they would send a floppy disk to each other through the mail so they could see what each other was working on. My version, which there's multiple different Good Omens versions, mine had something in the back that talked about the process, and it said that Pratchett had a bigger hand in writing draft 1, but because they were working so closely, all the ideas were shared, and then he also wrote a lot of the footnotes. Gaiman wrote all the parts about the horsemen, anything involving maggots, and Pratchett also wrote about the gang of children that make an appearance too. And so as fans, you get a strong sense of maybe who's writing what part, because it really aligns with their humor and their interests as well as writers.
You've got this picture on the back of them as well. Neil Gaiman in his full black garb and Pratchett in his full white garb, which is the whole sense of the book, are these opposing pieces of humor. Always funny.
You should read it before the Amazon Prime show comes out, because though I think there will be a lot of similarities, there'll be some differences too. It looked like there was a lot more historical things related to Aziraphale and Crowley, what they were doing in amidst those 6,000 years, and it would be really fun to compare them. So please let us know in the comments if you did read Good Omens, what you thought, who your favorite character was. Are you more of a Crowley or more of an Aziraphale? We'd like to hear from you.
Our February read is going to be Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. It comes out in February, but Marlon James wrote a book previously called A Brief History of 7 Killings, which won the Man Booker Prize. So I think he's going to be really amazing. This book coming up is about a person named Tracker, who's got a nose, they say. He's a hunter, and they set him upon finding a lost boy. And he gets involved with a group of people which include a shape-shifting person named Leopard, part of the title, and they run into a lot of trouble finding this boy. There's people who don't want them to find this boy, and Tracker starts to ask questions. So join us in February with Black Leopard, Red Wolf. It's a brand new book, and we'll see you then. Bye. Bye.